Hi, it's Mystic Marla here to do a Palmistry Tarot Double Down. Today I'm going to talk to you about introversion and what being an introvert might look like in a palm. The first thing I would look for in your hand would be how close the thumb sits. That's a tongue twister, the thumb fits. The thumb sits next to the rest of the hand. On an introvert, the thumb tends to be tucked in a little bit more tightly to the rest of the fingers. And when people present their palms to you to read, you'll notice that they tend to snug their hands up closer to their body. That body language shows or be a little bit more reserved with who they are. My extroverts tend to be a little more out there with their hands, and they tend to spread their fingers and thumbs a little bit more widely. And I'm going to show you some cards now that might be associated with introversion, and then we're going to swing back to looking at some features in the hands. So follow me down with the camera. So here are some tarot cards that you might think about with introversion. I've got fours, right? I've got the Four of Cups, the Four of Pentacles, and the Four of Swords, all of which have a more closed-in energy, especially this Four of Pentacles, a very guarded energy. The heart's guarded. Resource guarding. You think about people being very close with their emotions and their feelings. The Four of Swords, which happens to be one of my favorite cards, which just means take it easy, take a break, pull it in, maybe think a little bit, right? I like when I get the Four of Swords or the Two of Swords because I also consider the Two of Swords a fairly closed energy. I think of it as shut up and leave me alone so I can think for a minute and figure out my problem without a lot of outside noise and input. And of course, the Hermit card has a very quiet, reserved energy, right? That's kind of the classic thought, of a hermit being the introvert. Some other features in the palm that you might look for. And this goes counter to old school, what I call old school or traditional palmistry, where people would talk about a line of Apollo. A line of Apollo goes under the ring finger, which is the Apollo finger, and is a long line that might stretch this way. It used to be associated with fame and fortune. I don't find that to be the case. I find that an Apollo line, which runs here, tends to be more in people who are spiritually fit, who tend to be able to spend a lot of time on their own or are very comfortable with who they are in an alone manner. I have a very strong Apollo line. I'm going to draw a red line along my Apollo line so you can see where it runs. Now, that looks like a horror movie, like I just cut my hand. Oh well, we're going with it. This long Apollo line is frequently associated with people who can spend long periods of time by themselves. They're comfortable with themselves and tend to have a very rich kind of internal life, a lot of internal dialogue that can go on, and that can often show up with introversion. And then one of the other traits that you might see on somebody who tends to be a little more reserved or introverted would be arched fingerprints, especially on an index finger. So if you could see the fingerprints, you might see them show up as an arched fingerprint. Okay, I hope that was helpful to my folks that are learning to read tarot, learning to read palmistry, or maybe just looking for a way to kind of do a mashup with both of those things together. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.